Come for the hammer, stay for the barn. It's the Hammer Barn Project. My name's Brendan. Frank's laughing. What are you laughing at, Frank? It's very early days.
How long did it take you to come up with that one?
I did think of it a long time ago, and I haven't done that one yet, have I?
No, that's new.
No. I was excited about it when I remembered that today. How are you, Martin?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm here for the barn.
This episode of the Hammer Barn Project is called The Little Fur-Maid.
What are we, 12?
I think my maturity advanced the age of 12 and then it kind of plateaued. But all this to say, hello, this is the Hammer Barn Project. We talk about the Australian children's television program Bluey because it's the best thing. And let's keep doing that.
Why not?
But how are you, gentlemen? How's your week been?
A little bit of sickness going through our house, to be honest. Not COVID related, so says all the tests. But it was that thing where I was chatting with my workmates on the Sunday night going, I'm feeling pretty gross. I don't think I'll be in on Monday. And my boss said the same thing. My other two co-workers said the same thing. I was like, we have a team of 4, so you're telling me no one's going to be there tomorrow? He's like, yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
But teachers are good at IT, aren't they?
No comment.
Plead the fifth.
I'm sure there's some teachers listening, and to those teachers who are good at IT, I clearly haven't met you, despite working with teachers for over 20 years in my career now.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Enjoy.
There's
just someone
dig
out
up,
there.
Frank. Dig up.
I think it's a plot. There's someone just out there sending you all the teachers they know you'll have trouble with, Frank. I'm trying to dig up, but I'm not doing a very good job as either. I was trying to dig up for you, but that was
I'll come
awful.
in with a segue. Well, for me, I think I talked in our crossover episode that we did with Kate and Mary from Gotta Be Done. I was talking about how I feel less imposter syndrome now because I am watching more Bluey with Naomi.
Yeah.
It has gotten to the point now I'm getting more like Frank. I know which end the particular episodes are in the series.
Wow.
Because Naomi requests them.
Oh, you got to find them.
Sometimes it's by name.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, dirt or something. Other ones it's like the car one. And I'm like, oh man, I can't remember which one that one is.
You know, the one with the car.
The car. Come on, Dad, hurry up. Hurry up. Which of course is, whatever picture is in the ABC
Yes.
iView,
Right.
screen grab.
Incredible.
But yeah, so I am having to get better at okay, that one's somewhere at the end of season 2. That one's at the beginning of season 3.
Sounds like you have to get better at it to catch up with how good Naomi is at it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But, I'm trying to think, probably the car one. What would the car one be? Any guesses?
The car one.
Explorers?
This is a terrible game. Why did I start this?
Now I don't want to move on until I get it.
It could be so many different ones.
The dump?
I'll
to be
give you a
clear,
hint,
what we're
actually.
doing is we're trying to guess the episode from the little item that comes up on the title card.
Yeah, that's right.
And the item that comes up on the title card of this episode.
I thought we were talking about the thumbnail that comes on from your ABC iView.
Yeah, the thumbnail.
It's a
so I'll give you a clue. It's the car from the side. So we're looking in the car from the side. Dump was a good guess. I'll give you that.
What am I thinking? Is it Road Trip?
Nope.
Is it Tina?
Is it the healer car?
See, this is why this is a terrible game. Why are we doing this?
No. We will get this.
I don't think we're moving on until we do.
Please, you just can hear that sound effect. Just and then it'll be like, yeah, of course.
So it's not the title card thing. Above the title.
It's a random
it's a thumbnail
screenshot from within the episode.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's
maybe I should give up.
Yeah, it could be.
It's dance mode.
Dance mode.
Screenshot is when they're in the car at the end.
Right. Yes.
There's so many quick bits when they're in the car.
This is the game I have to play with with a 2-year-old.
And you thought you only had to play with Naomi.
Exactly. I'm just like, I need to put this on so you can eat your snack because you're bottoming out and you really need to. I need to find the car.
Get the right one, otherwise it's going to be a disaster.
No, actually, she
like
does
a great game.
quite often. I'll be going through. I'm like, okay, I'll try and find tradies, and then she's actually I want the train one. So it's like anything she sees on screen is fine. So that's a relief.
But speaking about episodes of Bluey,
this episode of Bluey is called Beach.
Beach. This episode of Bluey. Should we talk about this
I feel
one?
like that's the first time we've ever actually gotten to the name of the episode without just completely giving away which one we're talking about.
Yeah,
That's a good call.
Yeah, because my opening was just kind of generic, wasn't
It's not like you didn't open with whoosh.
Yeah.
You know what I would have opened with to
can we
lead
redo it?
directly into it? how big is that freaking skateboard at the start of the episode? You've got a skateboard that Bandit and 2 kids are sitting on with room to spare from the look of it.
One of those longboards, maybe.
That's huge.
Like from the one that Ben Stiller's got in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty that he trades the Stretch Armstrong for.
That was far too much detail. You could have just said it's a long skateboard.
It's a beautiful movie.
That was the first thing that jumped out to me. And this is one of the ones where sometimes there's quite a bit of, not necessarily exposition, but there's a bit of a setup before you get the title card. And it's literally just, it's maybe 10, 15 seconds if I'm being generous. And
it is great.
And then just, here's the title card. Bang, there it is.
That's all you need to say. But before we walk too far down the beach by ourselves, because we like to, I don't know why, we just do. Martin, would you care to share any bare bones that you might have picked up for this?
Found buried in the sand?
You might have found buried in the sand?
Okay, thank you, lad. You're forgetting me more often these days.
Sorry, who are you again?
Marty.
Oh, hey, Marty.
So, well, this episode, it's really just about life, isn't it?
100%.
You start out, you move out of the nest, you go out on your own, you experience things, you grow, you change, and ultimately you realize that you actually really just quite enjoy the boring and tedious things that your parents like, that you never really understood why they like them or what. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that took a turn.
Oh, man. I was thinking about that this week. I was recalling a conversation that I walked, because I was at a friend's house once when I was a kid, and I walked in and all the adults were sitting around the kitchen table and they were discussing toilet paper and how many sheets, per approach. And and I can remember being a kid going, that's so boring. And then I went back and played video games or whatever. And I think whenever I catch myself literally having a conversation as tedious as that, I think, what have I become?
Now I'm at the other end of the beach.
You've hit the nail on the head, Marty.
What is it really about? So the fam is at a beach. Mum's gone off for a walk along the beach, and Bluey decides that she wants to go show Mum Michelle. And she gets to go and walk all by her own to find Chili. And it's an adventure.
It's so good.
There's a lot that happens at the beach, and this is even another thing this episode does a bit differently to some others is there's a montage within the opening 20 seconds of the episode. Really, you get that little bit at the start, beach title card. And then straight into a montage of a lot of the fun things that happen at the beach. Where they're
absolutely
lifting the kids out of the wave. There's that wonderful sort of Hollywood filter shot of Chili just sort of sunbathing.
Yes.
It all happens really quickly, but you sit there and go, done that, been there. Yep. Like relate to that. You've done all those things. Do
you run onto the sand and roll yourself in it like a dog?
No, but I do from this point on. Having seen this episode, why would you not?
I love that. Yeah, that melding, that overlapping of human things that you do at the beach and actual dog things that you do in the beach. And I am glad I watched it again today because it's an episode I know quite well. So I'm like, do I really need to watch it before?
Yes,
and I'm glad we did just for, always. I'm glad I did just for that montage alone because it kind of gives a sense of time as well because the time that they spent at the beach because the shot, I think just before Chili's lying on the sand with that sort of like glossy filter and then I think she's in the shot and then she's in the shot straight after that. So it's like, it gives you that sense that that's not happening. This isn't real time. No. They're having a beach day.
It's a full day.
And there's also a cool shot with the bird hovering.
Yes.
I don't think it's like, what kind of bird is it? I don't think it's a seagull.
I looked it up and
you
looked it
up,
figure it.
You couldn't figure it out. It's got a little something. It's got a little coloration around its eyes. Looks like a beautiful bird, but I love that when they're facing into the breeze
and just sort of
because they're stalking fish or crabs or whatever they're hungry for. Just kind of up there, just hovering. It's perfect. And that kind of gives a sense of like Chili's been walking for a little bit now as well. Yeah. So the actual storytelling in the sort of cinematography here is just classic and textbook. Frank, should you relate this episode to a 2D platformer before Martin, or should I?
I didn't want to steal his thunder.
There's a castle. We're trying to find someone. Well, it's me again, isn't it? In our conversation with Joe Brum, he mentioned when I was talking about video games. He mentioned this episode as one in which I think he was saying it's fun to pull the camera down really low and have that sort of parallax effect of it looking like a video game. And so it's got the castle, which just makes me think it's even more so. And the fact that, you know, most of the obstacles, she can't get past them because apparently her only capacity is to move forward.
Go
dimensionally.
Yeah, it's quite late in the game
Z-axis.
when she realizes that she has a Z-axis.
in space. I was going to say, like, all the beach things, we've done all those beach things. I actually got to do them last weekend. It was so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
So we went and we built a castle, and it was quite a nice day.
Fantastic.
So we went down to the beach, and I think it's the first time I've actually built a castle with Naomi. I think last time around, a little bit too early, or, you know, the weather wasn't quite as good or something like that.
Right.
But I think the thing that I take more than anything else from those opening scenes is just like 100% mum hat.
Yeah.
It's just
boy.
that orange hat,
Oh,
the wide
boy.
brim hat. Immediately, it's a mum beach hat.
And they've got the Bluey in particular has got the what I call the cricket zinc going.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
got the yellow. I think if you look, her eyebrows are
It's
actually
even her
like
eyebrows,
done in the yellow, which I thought was
And
a
that's
really
part
nice
of the
touch.
montage, isn't it? The applying of the
Yes.
zinc. It's
Yeah.
part of the beach day.
And I love just at the start, Bandit is largely not in this episode, and it's because he was building a magnificent castle. It's that dad thing of just
That
going,
is-
I'm doing this.
Yeah.
You kids can, be mermaids and go chase your mother, but I'm building a fortress made of
Oh,
sand,
boy.
but a fortress nonetheless.
That is
Yep.
pretty much my moment of the episode. I think I said, let's do beach, because this is just this speaks to me so much, because there's so many times, even just sitting at home, you know, on the rug, you're building something and then you're like, oh yeah, the child is over there doing something else. She's gone off and I don't know, she's playing with knives in a drawer or something. And I'm just like, but can I make the engineering on this work correctly? And you can see him bend it there. He's got his little tongue poking out and he's just so happy. He's so good. It does actually remind me of another for real life story, I got to tell you guys.
Go for it.
So one day, Ali and I went down to the beach. This is before Naomi, so it was back when we were so it was on the south coast of South Australia. And we were like, let's build a sandcastle. It's fun. So we were building it together. And then I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I was like, okay. And these people walked past, you know, some other people just walking along the beach. And they're like, that's you're building a sandcastle. I'm like, yeah, you know, you got to do it. And then anyway, Ali comes back and we do a little bit more and it kind of turns into a pyramid. What are they called?
Like the Machu Picchu
Aztec
kind of
pyramid.
yeah.
And like, you know, and then Ali's like, I'm just going to go get my towel from car or something like that. And then the people, they're walking back on the other side of the beach and like, no, Aztec pyramid thing. I'm like, yeah, just kind of turned into that anyway. And a little bit, you know, Ali came back and we were doing a little bit more. And I realized that they'd never seen Ali. They'd just seen me
I just think it was all you.
building a sandcastle by myself the entire time. So I'm just the sort of person who's just like,
You're
to the
that
beach.
guy at the beach.
So, you know.
The next question they would have asked you was, are you okay?
Is there someone we can call for you?
It wasn't just me building a sandcastle. I know you guys are listening. It wasn't just me.
Oh, thank goodness we've got this podcast now so that you can get in touch with these people and explain to them that you know, it was a couple's day.
That's the reason why we set this podcast up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Just to you know, release all those things that we've been holding on to.
Yep.
We briefly touched on the video game design of this episode. The music is almost a little bit electronica, sort of beep boop 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 doo doo. But in particular, I love the that it's the sound when Bluey encounters, like, say, the pelican, for example, and everything sort of drops out and it's silence. And then she gets up the nerve to, like, you know, shoo the pelican away or run around. And there's just I don't know how to describe it. It's a sound effect. It's like, aha! It's like and then the music kicks back in. I'm just like, I don't even know what that is. I don't know if it's an instrument or a person sort of making that noise. But I'm like, it's a really nice sort of like, hold, pause. This is a moment. Aha! And then
it's
back
like
we
a
go into the
vocal
action,
crescendo thing.
Yes.
That's kind of like almost not. I'm not saying that this is a reference to it, but it's like that Mambo Number 5, like Lou Bega.
I get you. Yep. Back they
That
go,
kind of like thing. But yeah, no, I noticed that it happens just before the end credits as well.
Yep. As you get to the crescendo of it, absolutely.
It does sound cool. Yeah, I mean, the music is always out of control.
But we haven't talked about the biggest the biggest star. Obviously, it's an episode of.
If you're going to say that, Marty, if
Bluey
you're going to
feature
say it,
heavily.
Marty, say it right, all right? Can we talk about the real star of this episode,
Can we
please?
talk about the real star of this episode?
It's like he doesn't even know,
a
Frank.
little. Do you guys know what I'm going to talk about?
Let's
King
see. Oh.
Neptune, a.k.a. Bingo.
No, I was going to make a joke, and it was going to be the crab.
Yeah,
He's the
good
real
call.
star of this episode.
Good call. He's great.
Oh man,
There you go.
Little pinchy walk.
Shout out to whoever did the crab animation because it's stunning. He does a little blinking and he looks up. He's got tiny little eyes, which you do kind of focus around and move. And then he's in that little coda bit at the end when he runs around and goes in the castle and just pops up.
Yeah.
Just brilliant. But no, of course, I was meant to be, the joke I'm getting around to is it's Lane Beachley.
Oh man,
Yes, of course.
I was actually looking at Lane Beachley, of course, the voice of the surfer who runs past. I was looking up. Do I still have it up? I was looking up Lane Beachley because I'm not a surfer by any stretch of the imagination, but I did like growing up in the 90s. The name Lane Beachley was everywhere. She was like Australia's favourite daughter.
Yeah, if she was the closest thing Australia has to a who's the famous American surfer, which defeats the whole purpose of me making this comparison if I
Once
can't
again,
remember the name.
No, not a surfer.
Yeah, that
So
really famous one. She's like up there with the, she's probably very famous.
I knew
she's
Lane
famous one.
Beachley was good, but I felt ashamed for not knowing that she was this good when I looked it up.
She's
Because check
the
this
best.
out.
Yeah.
And I quote, at the age of 16, Beachley became a professional surfer. By the age of 20, she was ranked 6th in the world. And get this, Beachley became the women's ASP world champion in 98 and won the title again in 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, and 2006. She is the only woman in history to win 7 world championships and the only surfer, male or female, to win 6 consecutive world titles.
Wow.
How out of control is this lady? Who else are you going to choose to voice the surfer dog?
And I think it can be best summed up. She's got 3 lines in this episode, and 2 of them are "you" as she goes out and hits the water. Like,
And she catches a mad tube later on.
yeah,
as well.
exactly. Yeah. And I'm wondering, like, because the surfboard she comes past with, whereas a lot of the design stuff you see is very simplistic or deliberately simple shape.
Who paused it?
I didn't get a chance to go back.
Did you pause it, Marty?
What's the design?
I had a very good look. It's like King Neptune or something.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I reckon.
Oh, is it?
It's either King. The crown is very
The crown's
King
there.
Triton from
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
Mermaid
That's
as well. Like big bushy, hairy,
Beard, yeah.
bearded dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Nice little shout out to the aquatic theme.
Wonder if anybody's made a surfboard like that.
Yeah, yeah. I should have Googled Lane Beachley's surfboard.
I
design.
wondered if it was like a brand of hers or something
Maybe.
like that, but I'm sure there's copyright
Once
involved.
again,
with
surfers are going to need to get involved.
that. Yes.
I'm not a surfer. The only reason I knew the term caught a mad tube, like caught my first tube today, is because Keanu Reeves says it in Point Break. And I don't know if that lingo is even current. Surfers are probably going, dude, that was a very era and destination specific thing. Johnny Utah might say it, but nobody else does. So get back in your box.
Right now, if my wife was listening to this part of the episode, she'd be like, "Utah, give me 2." Like that's her moment from that.
Speaking
from that
of
movie.
Point Break, though, that in that first shot, as they're coming in before the title card, and they just go beach. Just that establishing shot of the little hose. Shower.
Yep.
That's a real that always makes me think of Point Break when Keanu is there and he's having a shower, and then those dudes come up and cut the line while he's having it.
Yeah.
And Anthony Kiedis is there.
For me,
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
because it was the beach is the moment. But yeah, that establishing shot with there is something so like. To me, it feels very Australian. I'm not sure if they have.
Yeah.
I assume that. Well, you were just saying it was in Point Break, but there's something about that beach shower that just is so. For me, it's just relaxing because it's just this idea of just like you come out of the water, you have a shower. It just ties together all those moments I remember from childhood of just like going down to the beach. Everything's a lot more relaxed. It's it's a shower in public that that people get to like. Nobody's checking to see how much water is being used.
Yeah, exactly. And when you find them, they're worth their weight in gold because what's the worst thing about the beach? The sand that gets stuck to you. And so when you find one on the way back to the car that you can just rinse off your feet, it just makes the day.
Yeah.
Or makes my
Otherwise,
day.
you're sitting in the car with like gritty feet.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
Yeah.
It's coarse and it gets everywhere. And I use that line every time we go to the beach because my wife is a huge Star Wars fan, hates episode 2 with a passion, so I love pulling that out because it's true.
Right. I didn't even recognize the line. That's how little I've seen episode 2, actually. I should watch them again. They can't be that bad, right? Martin?
Wait, where's the cricket sound effect? Give me a second.
Like I've talked to before her about it. I was a big Star Wars fan. I'd forgotten where that line came from. That's how much I've wiped
didn't even know.
I've wiped it from my memory.
Wow, it's one thing for me to own up to it, but wow.
Ali is going to hold that over you.
Yeah, she can.
She can have
She
it.
can have that one.
Nothing's canon anymore. But I must say, this really the things that this episode really do conjure up are just that childhood experiences of being at the beach. They tick all the boxes.
Yes.
The playing in the sand, the parents like sort of gently playing with you in the waves for the
Yep.
littlies, you know, but also this sense of trust. When
There's a bit
Bandit
more
says,
freedom.
you know, I can see you. As long as,
Yeah.
you know, stay where I can see you. And she leaves the area. I mean, she doesn't go into the water, but she leaves the area with the flags, you know. So it's like those flags there, if they do nothing else, they kind of show to you that, yeah, this is sort of like
This is the
outside of
edge,
comfort
yeah.
zone. You know, she's exploring. She's really extending her boundaries here. And Dad trusts her enough for her to follow Mum. And she's got the footprints and they're really symbolic as well as literal footsteps that she's walking in. And it also just, it's like a quest with the challenges
it
that
is.
she comes across. And I love how each one is sort of different. Like the crab one, it's almost like a comedy thing because she finds it and goes, oh, you know, see you later. And then turns around, there's the army of crabs. It's like, it's a real comedy trope. And she runs off, but she's still giggling and having fun. And she works up the courage to step around that pelican. And the
jellyfish with a
Stingray,
stick.
you know,
Yeah.
she's kind of scared of the jellyfish, and every new thing she overcomes and becomes brave in a different way. And I love the animation of that pelican because it's like staring straight into camera. So that 2D representation of the beak it just kind of makes him look really funny. And like I just love what it looks so good. And then he kind of whack and walks off.
And even when Bluey first encounters the pelican, you see her reflection in their eyes because their eyes are really big and they're terrifying birds up close. To be completely honest, I'm sure they're relatively placid compared to swooping magpies.
Birds are freaky, man.
Is this some childhood trauma, Frank? Are we?
I don't know. I haven't been
getting
attacked
to a
by,
place?
but I just know. I remember taking Jack to the zoo. They're in a very low fence enclosure, so you could get up really close and just being amazed that their beaks were the size of Jack. They're these massive things.
Oh man, they're freaky.
Yeah,
and birds, they're not trustworthy. like they've got these beaks. They could do like I don't know. Maybe I'm no bird expert, but geese and turkeys. We've spoken about this on the podcast before.
Turkeys.
You know,
They can go.
you want to keep your eye on them, but you want to keep your eyes away from them. If you know what I mean.
I like those seagulls as well. They've got some great little just like animation ticks. Especially when she moves forward towards them and they're like a few of them just shuffle over, very much like a group of seagulls do. So there's just some really nice little, each one of them's doing something a little bit different, which is just once again like the level of detail and polish something as simple as that. Yeah, it's so cool.
And this episode automatically goes into my top 10 because it has a pretty obvious cricket reference. Stumps on the beach, if just for those non-Australian listeners, it's not just some random sticks that appeared on the beach. That is our national pastime, and
beach cricket, baby.
It's got to be done.
And that's probably like beach cricket and backyard cricket. There's an argument to be made as to that's why our national cricket team have been so successful because kids are training to be cricket stars their entire lives.
Yeah, like we consistently produce some of the best fielders in the world, and why that is because when you've got the wave, you're back to the waves, and someone hits the ball out to you, you can just throw yourself with reckless abandon at that ball. Doesn't matter if you half take it or it bounces out because you're in the water. Doesn't matter. And then we replicate that at home in our backyard pools. We were like classic catches.
Yeah,
Go
Chili would be
jumping out.
able to do that and catch one in her mouth.
Yes, exactly.
The castle is nice as well. Like,
Yes.
I haven't mentioned it. Yeah, I should have mentioned it at the start. But this, I think this episode or the concept of this story probably takes up about an eighth of the brain that I have left because we've got the book of this.
Yes, the Hans
And
Christian
so
Andersen.
I've
Hans
read
Christian
it
Andersen.
several
Yeah.
million times. I don't know. It's, but one of the things you notice if you know, because you get a bit more of a chance in the book, is there is a little made up of shells and like a little line, a mermaid, but it's a dog mermaid.
Yeah.
Written into the side of the castle, which is fun.
Right. So
Nice.
sorry, you're saying you've got the
Bluey
got the
book. You were
Bluey
talking
book
about-
of,
yeah.
I said Hans Christian Andersen because
Yeah.
I thought you meant the original Little Mermaid
Yeah.
book, which the line
I mean, no.
I got my legs but only for a day. That's
Yeah.
the lines from like the original book.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it makes an appearance in the Disney version, but you're actually talking about Bluey.
Yes, yeah.
The Bluey books.
the theme
You know, it's
of
Bluey,
the
that thing we're
podcast.
here talking
Oh,
about.
right,
Brendan.
right, gotcha.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the earlier books that they did. I'm fairly sure it won an award. But yeah, it's it's one of the flat books. It's very much like the flat book that they have in
Yeah.
the other episode that we've already talked about. I think the nicest bit in the book that's kind of not as evident in the episode is there's the nice bit when they get to the end and it's like, oh, Bluey, Mum, and they have a cuddle and then she shows her the shell. In the book, they've got this moment where it's like, oh, and she listens to the shell and she can hear the whole beach is inside it, and the picture's just showing all the different things she's overcome in order to get there, like the pelican and the crabs and the seagulls.
Nice.
And so there's a nice little thing like bringing it all back together there.
I really like the moment at the end as the two of them are walking away from camera and
Yeah.
And Bluey's like, oh, I like walking by myself. Really? Why is that? I don't know. Just do. But this is nice too.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause she's
Yeah.
holding Mum's
Yeah,
hand
yeah,
as
yeah,
they're
yeah,
walking.
yeah,
And
like,
they have a bit of
and
a
that-
cuddle too. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you sit
Or you
there and
said-
go, oh, she's, chip off the old block sort of thing.
You
Like,
said cuddle there, and I thought you were going to say couplet, and I was going to be sad because I wanted to say it.
ding.
It's a nice little couplet there.
that's true.
Because throwback to what Chili says, like, why do you like walking by yourself, Mum? Oh, I don't know, I just do. And then she's all grown up now. Bluey, she's like taking on after her mum. It's really nice. It's such a nice.
I
episode.
think the hidden theme of this episode is the trust and Marty sort of alluded to it with his bare bones of, you grow up, you leave the nest, right. Now
Yeah.
it's not as evident as something like Flat Pack, for example, but there's still that thing, right at the start, she goes, I'm going to go walk after Mum. And Bandit's like, yeah, you can go. And she's like, really? Like she was expecting him to say
surprise.
no from the outset. And, there's several elements from other episodes that make it more obvious, whereas this one just takes a little bit from each, or sort of predates a few episodes even. And it's this real nice story of, hey, this could be scary for a little 6-year-old.
Yeah.
A pelican and all these things. But she did it. She walked all this way on her own to Mum. It's a bit of a pivotal moment,
And
development of a young kid.
And the animation of it really does capture that expanse. It really does make you feel like Bandit is and it's kind of
Orange Speck Mum over there.
Yeah,
Like,
you really feel. I remember feeling like that as a kid, even though distances must have been very limited. As a kid, they just seem that far
Massive,
away, and
yeah.
this is a huge moment for Bluey.
And I think it's something about the beach, actually. I was thinking, are there many places apart from the beach where you can see someone that far away?
Yeah,
Because usually
call.
there'll be other stuff in the way or something like that. But
Yeah.
I do remember the same thing of just like looking down the beach and there's a just tiny speck of like, that's a recognizable person because I remember what they were wearing, but they're just so far away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really sort of captures that sentiment as well. And yeah, as you say, that sense of scale.
I keep going back to the kid beach day things that it keeps reminding me of, like getting your legs when you're like
getting
being
half
covered
buried.
up,
Yeah,
getting
yes,
half
being
buried,
legit.
and then bursting your legs out. I can imagine that. Yeah, I've got my legs. That like this theatrical moment would have been. I could just imagine them doing it because that's the fun thing when you're buried, just like coming out like a mess.
You can feel the sensation, can't you?
yeah,
When you're,
yeah,
like, just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also on the castle, when she found that castle and the music
mystery
changes
castle,
and it's
yeah.
really mystery, and there is a little mermaid drawing on there with little bits of shell stuck on to make the tail. And there's lots of little animation things that are just delightful in this episode.
I think just from this one as well, like I was saying, I went to the beach and we did basically do all those things. You know, we covered up my legs. We did the thing where you're holding hands and you're jumping over the waves because Naomi's still quite small. And, you know, I think it is one of those other places wherein like Bluey becomes another like generation's childhood because they've showed us how to do it and we've kind of got this model for things.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting the way that, you know, was it the classic life imitates art and then that sort of thing coming back around.
And we'll be studying Bluey as a way of, in the way it held the torch for beach culture and all sorts of other game culture and childhood activity culture. It's immortalize these things so people will have a good reference for how to have a fun time with your kids. I know I'll be learning from it.
Well, you've already learnt a lot about surfing, haven't you?
I have.
What did you learn?
I've already forgotten. But speaking of forgetting things, I shouldn't forget to thank you, listener, for listening. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Marty.
That was really funny because it was like you were responding to me.
Frank.
But
that was an innocent mistake, but I will take it for comedic value.
That's me left in the edit. No, thanks everyone. Thanks Bluey for making such a good show. Thanks the people. Thanks Studio Ludo. Thanks Joe Rum for making Bluey.
Absolutely.
It's very fun to watch and very fun to talk about with my friends.
Always.
And it's very fun to talk about to you, dear listener. Till next time. Look out for Seagull 300.
Left at the Crab Army.
And if you hit a giant pelican, you've gone too far.
Created and produced by Frank, Brendan and Marty. You can follow the Hammerbarn Project on facebook.com/HammerbarnProj, at HammerbarnProj on Twitter, or Hammerbarn_project on Instagram. Theme featuring Nibblings, Kaylee, Jade, Ashley and Reese, and PA announcements by brother-in-law, me, Josh. Thanks for listening, and remember to get down to Hammerbarn for cheap shovels.